Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to cover all the content that is required to pass the GitHub Copilot certification exam. So this is going to be a part of a video series. So let's start with the topic. So the topic for today is responsible AI. So responsible AI is heavily pushed and heavily promoted by each and every organization, whether let it be Google, let it be AWS. Let me give you an example here. As you can see, if I type in Microsoft responsible AI principles, we have Microsoft's page. If we go for AWS, even AWS has some documentation for responsible AI. Even Google has some documentation for responsible AI. So with this, we can take away that each and every organization is focusing on responsible AI. So that is why if you go for any certification, whether let it be Google Cloud Fundamentals, Azure Cloud Principles, or AWS Cloud Practitioner, all of those certifications require you to be knowledgeable about the AI principles or responsible AI that goes into it. So the learning objectives for this module will be, first of all, we need to know about the responsible AI principles. We need to know the limitations of AI, when to use AI, when not to use AI, and how to mitigate all the risks that come into picture because we are using AI. And we'll also get to know about the best practices that are being used in the industry if you're using AI. It could be pertaining to whether or not you can upload your organization's code base, what files are allowed to be passed on to LLM, and what files are not allowed to be used on the LLM, all those things. And we'll also try to learn about the importance of transparency and accountability in AI. So let me first discuss upon these two terms. So transparency basically means how transparent is the decision making in your AI model. Let's just say that an AI model is being used for a hiring platform, which takes in a resume and it shortlists it based on the contents of the resume. So if an AI model has shortlisted my resume, it should also be able to tell the person in charge why my resume was shortlisted, or if my resume was discarded, the AI model should be able to explain why my resume was discarded. So this is what transparency essentially means. Another term is accountability. Suppose if an AI model is used in a medical scenario and I, as a person, have cancer, but the AI model has detected me with no cancer. It failed to diagnose me with cancer when I actually had cancer. So this could lead to immense consequences. I may not be able to get the treatment at the optimum time. So that might lead to adverse health effects. So in this case, who will be accountable? Who will be responsible for my health? Because of some AI model, will the company be responsible? Will the hospital being which is using the model, will that be responsible? So all of that need to be defined somewhere. Next is mitigating AI risk. So to mitigate AI risks, we can implement certain methods which are being discussed in the next slide. First is robust governance. So as you may all know that we have security standards for organization like ISO 27001. So as more and more people are using AI, more and more organizations are using AI. So there are a lot of governance standards for AI itself. Let me show you one of them. One of them is if you search for NIST AI Risk Management Framework. So this is one of those frameworks which have been developed. So NIST is an organization which also has many information security standards. Since AI is now widespread, now NIST has also provided a framework for AI risk management. So let's quickly take a look at what is being prescribed by this framework. So as you can see, it is pretty comprehensive here. It's 50 pages long. And let us look at the other methods that are being used to manage risk posed by AIs. And another thing we can do is ensure transparency, which we already have discussed. Another one is human oversight. So what do we mean by human oversight? So let's go to the previous cancer diagnosis example. So we have an AI model which based on patient's history, patient's diagnostic information, it basically tells if a patient has cancer or not. Now this system is not robust, it's not bulletproof. To make it better, to increase the accuracy, we need to have a human in the loop. So in this scenario, the human in the loop will be a doctor. So we have a model in place, and in the end, we also have a doctor who reviews the report generated, who reviews the decisions and of the reports of the patient. So what this basically does is that it basically reduces the risk of anything going wrong here. So human in the loop is a very essential tool that is used in AI. So now I just gave you the basics of responsible AI. So there are six principles in responsible AI. So let us take a look at it one by one. So Microsoft and GitHub's six principles of responsible AI. So here we have six principles: fairness, privacy and security, transparency, reliability, inclusiveness, and accountability. So the thing is, the basic tenets of responsible AI are pretty similar. Your AI shouldn't be biased towards any particular group. It should be fair to everyone. It should be for good of the humankind. It should be transparent, and it should be inclusive. So this is the list provided by Microsoft. And if we go to Google and if we try for Google's AI principles, responsible. As you can see, they only have three principles listed here: build innovation, responsible development and deployment, collaborative progress together. So companies may have differing principles, but the core philosophy is the same, which I just told you about. The AI model should be inclusive, it should be free of bias, it should be transparent in nature. And if you go for, let's say, AWS AI principles, AWS responsible AI principles. So here, instead of principle, they use the word core dimensions, but the essence remains the same. So out of these six principles, we are going to target on fairness in this video. So yeah. So fairness states that any AI model that is being used in production environment should treat all people equally. So let's say we have an example. Let's say we are using AI to predict to give loan to a person or not, to basically approve a person's loan or not. So it should take a look at more objective factors, maybe income level, age, etc., instead of non-objective factors like race or the state where they hail from. Because if we include those features, what may end up happening is that AI is biased towards certain things. For let me give you an example. If a person resides in a metro city, our AI model will be more inclined to give out a loan. But if a person resides in a tier three city, our AI model may not be inclined to give out a loan. So this is an issue. So for that we use the fairness principle. So what do we need to do to ensure that our AI model is fair? First is we need to review the training data. So in the training data, the classes should be balanced. More or less, we should have equal amount of people from metro cities, equal amount of people from tier two cities, equal amount of people from tier three cities, and the sex ratio should also be balanced. So these all are the features which could be discriminated upon. So we need to ensure that all of these classes are represented adequately. Another is that the same thing that I said, testing models with balanced demographic samples. Another technique is adversarial debiasing. So let us go deeper into this. I'll show you something about adversarial debiasing. So in adversarial debiasing, we have two networks instead of one, two models instead of one. One is the classifier model, another one is the adversarial classifier model. So classifier model, let's go back to the example of loan approval. So let us say that a person X has come in here and the loan has been approved. Now what our adversarial classifier will do is that based on the status that the loan has been approved, it will try to guess one of the features. For example, if X loan has been approved, the adversarial network will try to guess that maybe this person is a male, that maybe this person resides in a metro city, maybe this person resides in a tier three city, based on the output of the classifier. So basically, this happens iteratively over and over. The classifier can generate a prediction, but the adversarial network or the adversarial classifier will no longer be able to predict the feature. Like if I say the loan has been approved, the adversarial network will not be able to predict any feature which may have different output. So this is the goal. when it comes to adversarial debiasing. So another one is monitoring model performance across user segments. So instead of having generic dashboards, we need to have dashboards and performance metrics for each class. So for example, we have classes of cities like tier 1 city, tier 2 city, and tier 3 cities. So we need to have model parameters, we need to have model outputs, the F1 score, the recall, the precision, the accuracy for each of the classes, so that we may be able to know that if a class is being underrepresented, or if a class is being overrepresented. Another one is implement controls to override unfair model scores. So this ties back into human in the loop. So let's say in the example of loan approval, if we also have an agent in the end, for example, a prediction has been generated that this so and so person needs to be given out a loan, and if there is an actual person in the loop who is knowledgeable in the domain, all these model predictions, then our model will become much more robust and fair. So in the next video, we are going to cover other principles which are being included in responsible AI. So that was it for this video, and thanks for watching.